Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Impact Stage here at the Abu Dhabi Global Entrepreneurship Festival 2026. My name is Afra Al-Amri from ADGM Academy, and I am delighted to be moderating today's session, Women in Business and Leadership. This conversation is not about broad inspiration only. It's about real influence, measurable impact, and what it actually takes to scale leadership, capital access, and ecosystem participation for women across our region. Today, we will be exploring where women are already shaping business performance and what structural enablers are still missing, and how institutions and ecosystems can support long-term meaningful growth, not just visibility. Our goal is simple: to leave you with clear insights, grounded examples, and practical takeaways that inform real decisions. Let me introduce our distinguished panelists. Her Excellency Maysa Al-Nuwais, Executive Director of Community Engagement and Volunteering at Ma'an. Her Excellency Hind Al-Ateba, Founder of HAO Strategists. Ms. Snow Finan Lee, Chairperson of Saba Investment. Your Excellencies and esteemed panelists, thank you for joining me. First, I would like to address a question to all of my panelists joining us today around where are women making the most material impact today across business and leadership. Your Excellency Maysa, I would like to start with you.
Thank you for having me today. It's great to see all of you again in this amazing platform. So basically, I don't think that impact is limited to any specific sector when it comes to women. Women are making impact across the board. They've shown that they're able to succeed in so many different sectors. And what stands out the most is how they lead. We're able to see in a lot of the successful programs that have passed through us, there is consistency, they have their eye and they've defined the outcomes that they want to reach, and which shows that a lot of the success that's happening with women, it's all in the way they lead the programs and how they envision the success of the programs that they start.
Thank you, Your Excellency Maysa. Your Excellency Hind.
Thank you for the question. Well, I'd like to start by saying that really, I think we're at a day and age where there really isn't much difference left in terms of how women and men really succeed in today's world. However, I think women today have certain skill sets that come with them being a woman, and I think their emotional intelligence and their sensitivity to certain matters that perhaps our male colleagues might have a different form of leadership in, allow us to perhaps excel in areas that are quite different. I'd like to reference as an example women in peacekeeping. We've seen that in and it's actually a very relevant subject today, given the conflicts and the situation the country and the region is going through. We've seen very highly success rates in any endeavors of peacekeeping, and these numbers have come out from the UN itself on peacekeeping being successful when women are involved. And certainly, as everybody knows, the UAE has been excelling at the empowerment of women, and we see today really a large number of women representing their country, whether in the business sector or also as ministers, ambassadors, and senior officials.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Moving to Snow.
Thank you first, to invite me today, because I just realized there's a lot of local, because I'm one of the foreigners who comes to Abu Dhabi. I think that it's a privilege to be a woman because we can think like a man and we act like a woman. This is first. Second, I think today, in many sectors of business, you do have a lot of women and a lot of men. I don't think there's a gender difference here between woman and man, but just like by the end of the day, you work hard and you get the result. That's what I think.
Thank you, Snow. Let's now go deeper into specific dimensions. Your Excellency Mesa, how should inclusive economic participation be understood within a broader social and institutional agenda?
Well, usually inclusive participation is often talked about as a social goal, when in reality it's actually a system design, or how systems are designed. Women are definitely capable and they're present. The question is, are they really being supported, or let's say, are we making it easier for them to be able to participate and move forward and grow? Because if there was availability of funding that's easy for them, opportunities, partnerships, and access to market that is well planned, structured in a way where they're able to access all of that, we would definitely see more women stepping in. Not because they're more capable and not because they're more ready, but because the path was more clearer to them. So what does this tell us? This tells us that inclusive participation is not about increasing numbers. It's actually about the barriers that limit it.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Let's now shift from institutional framing to leadership in high performance and environments. Your Excellency Hind, what does effective leadership look like in high accountability environments today?
To be highly accountable, I think practical tips would be to focus basically on being prepared, on deciding, and on owning the outcome. I think preparedness is critical in anything that we do. It's important to do your homework. It's important to study any subject that you engage in, especially when you need to make a decision from all angles. It's important to stress test against different scenarios and ensure that you're not sort of blindsided by any matters. However, you need to also make sure that you own the decision. And you need to put your name on owning that decision. And so something I've noticed at times is that people can, and I don't want to say just women, because I've seen this with men as well, is a lack of accountability. And I think in order to really be successful in projecting that confidence and being truly accountable, you really need to own any decision that you make. Now, obviously, when we do our homework and when we research and when we sort of make sure that we're gathering all the information that is required, at a certain point, I think it's important to actually take that decision and not sort of drag it and wait, because sometimes a delay could result in missed opportunities.
Thank you, Your Excellency Hind. Now I would like to bring us in investment perspective and how decisions are shaped across markets. Snow, as a female investor operating across industries and different regions, how has your perspective shaped the way you make decisions?
First of all, I am in the heavy industry. So in my industry, mostly are men. So the decision is very easy. I think, anyway, you have to believe what you do. This is first. Second, that you garnered to see, because we are in China, and all the way we come to Abu Dhabi. The decision I made in Abu Dhabi is very different than the decision I made in China, because here I changed my vision. I see difference. So for me, the decision here in Abu Dhabi, you have to immerse yourself in the community. You have to immerse yourself in the situation and all this in Abu Dhabi, and then we will test it. I'm okay to take all the risk. We probably is the only Chinese manufacturer here during this time. We are fully operate and we are still expanding. So all this decision, I think first is made from my self-confidence to what we do. And since we are in Abu Dhabi, it's also the confidence of I have in Abu Dhabi and also my confidence in UAE. So this never will shut us down. So we are keep on expanding and expanding, expanding. I think, as Her Excellency said, confidence is very important. And also I think a discipline. So you have to really focus what you do and you beat all your competitors. And and I think also it's important to smell the opportunity. So during this time, we do have a competitor in the market. I am in oil and gas equipment manufacturing. But during this time, many of them has been closed down or they left the country. So the opportunity is there. So for me, I'm very happy, to be here. But when there's some uncertainty come, there is opportunity. So I think also being a woman, probably we are stronger in that sense that you will smell all the opportunities. But by the end of the day, all the business need to make money and to make a profit, then you can grow. So for me, probably because I'm Chinese, we are very result-driven. So you have to have a result, and you have to take all the risk and do all the hard working to achieve what you want to achieve. But we are very happy and very blessed to be in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you, Snow. I totally agree. Let's build on this and explore what still needs to change. Your Excellency, what should stronger support for women in business look like beyond symbolic representation?
Well, I think we've done very well on visibility, thanks to our leadership and thanks to all the support that we get. But visibility alone does not create growth. And I've seen a lot of successful initiatives, strong initiatives that were led by women that got the recognition early on, but they struggled when they decided to scale up. Not because they were not capable, not because they were not ready, but because access to funding, access to partnerships, and access to the correct markets was not really well structured, or they didn't have that. So I believe the stronger support should focus on 3 elements. One is that they get access to funding at the right time. They get real opportunities that allow them to grow, and continuous support, or let's say support that doesn't stop early on. So I believe if women are able to get all of that, they'll be getting all what they need to be able to grow, and will be shifting from just recognition to real progression and scale.
Thank you for highlighting this. Your Excellency Hind, what practical shifts would strengthen pathways into leadership and decision-making roles for future women leaders?
I think the first one is show up where no one else does. And I look at my friends now. We spoke about this at length. And just what you mentioned right now, your presence here today and the presence of other colleagues here from China today, during what are very sort of unprecedented times, is truly appreciated and just goes as a solid testament to the confidence that the UAE has been able to build, and the confidence that you as investors sort of have in us. And so my advice would be to show up when others don't, just like you did, Snow. So thank you for that. Your friendship means a lot. I want to also say that it's important to be consistent. Sometimes we say and behave in certain ways in meetings and in official settings, and we notice that others behave in a different way in their day-to-day life. There needs to be sort of matched behavior, whether you're indoors or outdoors, and whether you are dealing with one audience or the other. So be consistent would be my other recommendation. And the final one would be to actually listen. And I have to say, I'm not always very good at that. I think humanly, sometimes we somehow get carried away by just focusing on meeting our objectives, but we need to constantly remind ourselves to take a step back, to listen, because there's a lot of insight when we hear those that are around us. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. This is an important point on building future pipelines. Snow, what does it take to successfully build and scale across regions, particularly between China and Middle East?
I think, yes, you need to have a right decision, but also you need to choose right location. As we I experienced the pandemic in UAE, and as for myself, I see how the country has been strengthened and was very strong, how you active all the business during the pandemic. So that's why I have a full confidence about Abu Dhabi. We put the factory 3 years ago because we know that, we learned our past, there was tariff, in US, between US and China. So we thought, yes, it's very nice to be expanding this region. So I have my plants in Indonesia, in Nigeria, in Spain, in Italy. So we never had the Middle East. So first, it's very attractive point for us. And also Middle East is very important player in the global market, and especially in our oil and the gas industry. So this, I think, you have to make a really right choice and do a marketing study. And secondly, I think as a woman leadership, and all the men in our company says no, I would say yes. So I think I will, against 99% of the decision of the board, I will go, because nobody support me in the beginning, because we are family business. So I was the only one that supported to expand to Middle East, and I was right. And I was the only one that in the board to support us to expand during this time. We will fully operate. And I was the only one that decided to expand. Like, I think in next month we have a make in Emirates. So we are signing for phase 3 expansion. So I was always the only one in the board with my cousins and our family members. I was the only one that said I come to Middle East. So I think I believe what I do, and we are very successful here. And also, I think to be successful, especially for me, is to be in the region and to be in Abu Dhabi, you have to come yourself, to come to stay here. I spend 60% of my time here in Abu Dhabi because we are very new. We don't understand here. I don't know anyone, and we don't know the community. We don't understand. It's as if you go to China, you don't know anyone. It's the same. So I think it's not only to open the factory or open the company. It's not like that. You have to immerse yourself. You have to experience yourself. And then you know the policy, and you know the people, and you know how to figure out. I think to survive, it's also a big skill in this current world. That's my advice.
Thank you, Snow. I would like to take this one step farther and explore the broader system and influence around this. Your Excellency Hind, we would like to hear from you. How do women leaders build influence, credibility, and strategic reach across institutions and different sectors?
I think the most important thing is to build trust and allies as well. I want to just take a step back, and maybe for members of the audience that don't know me, to just share a small story. So before starting my current advisory recently, I served as UAE ambassador to France, and prior to that, I've established and worked on different strategic communications departments across the government. Now, when working on communications and when obviously representing the country, it's important that you interact with different entities across government and the private sector. And you need to do that continuously to make sure that you are aligned on various policies and government decisions, and that you exchange on a regular basis to have the latest and most up-to-date information. You also, in order to be able to sort of build a solid foundation of your representative role, and mainly in communications, you need to have allies, and allies that want to talk to you and want to willingly share information with you. In my case, I think I was very blessed, and this was due to collaborative efforts, obviously, between my team, myself, and other entities that I have worked with. And the one thing I always told my teams when dealing with these different government institutions is to make sure that we are of service. So we are being supportive, we are contributing We are bringing in something when dealing with these various entities, and at the end, they end up feeling comfortable and willing to actually come to us and share this information. So throughout time, when you prove that you are there, that you are present, and that you are supportive and working as one team, you naturally develop that trust. I went back into this history a little bit to tell you of how this has served me today. Now today, I'm in the private sector, and I still enjoy very solid and useful relationships across these various government entities. And trust me when I tell you that this comes in very useful even when working in the private sector today, because these guys are now friends and allies and colleagues, and they continue to support me just like they did before.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your thoughts. Snow, we would like to know, how do you approach building not just companies, but integrated industrial ecosystems?
Because we have been in this business for 30 years. So in China, we do have a very large production facility, almost 1.5 million square meter. But to talk about especially in Abu Dhabi, so we start Abu Dhabi 3 years ago. We start as a single plant, well, it's one product. When I see the opportunity here, that there's no supply chain. So now phase 2, we add more products, and phase 3, now what we do, we will launch is the supply chain of my industry. So we are doing ourselves here from A to Z, not depends everything what I have in China, so we want to expand. So I think, for our business to come to UAE, to come to Abu Dhabi, localize is very important. So for us, that now is the time for us to localize, especially under this situation. I think still localize our products here is to build the whole supply chain. It's very important. So this is what we are building now, and we are expanding. As also that I see that there is uncertainty between Chinese investors and when they come here. So since we are 3 years here, we are also trying to bring our friends in our ecosystem who can come to here to locate their business or expand their business to UAE. So I set up an investment fund here, and that we will also invest with our friends from China when they come here, especially industry. So we will put funding with them, maybe 30%, 40% of the capital funding, that to help them to growth and also to growth with us as well. So that is how I build the whole ecosystem. We are very new. We are still in the first year of doing that. I'm sure after 5 years, we will be very fine.
That really expands the conversation. Thank you, Snow. Your Excellency Mesa, would like to elaborate more on how can public and community-facing institutions can contribute to durable progression?
Well, the way I see it is that they can contribute in 2 ways. The first is to ensure that there is a very clear pathway from ideation to funding to scale up, where they can support these entities to grow. They can support them in how to build their ideas, how to develop them, how to get the funding, how to get the partnerships. And I think Her Excellency tapped a lot on the partnership component. And the second, I would say, is to talk more about what works. What does success look like? What does impact look like? Because if they publicize more about what that looks like, people will trust what that impact looks like, and more support will be given by other entities. And I have to say, I'll give you an example of that and how Abu Dhabi government is working on this. You might see the logo at the back here that says Athar Plus. So I'm an executive director at MAN, and we've developed a concept called Athar Plus. How it works is it's a physical space in MENA where basically you're able to work as social enterprises or startups that are registered as social enterprises. The idea came from 6 years of having 2 incubators a year where we supported startups to build. We gave them grants, we built their capabilities, we hooked them up with businesses from different governments or different private sector entities so that they can grow. And then we were like, okay, why don't we sustain that and make it even grow bigger? And that's how we developed Athar Plus. So in Athar Plus, you can work from there, you get the grants, you get the full support from the government. We connect you to business so that you can sustain yourself. But it doesn't stop there. There are so many different services. You need legal services, you get it, finance. It's a full ecosystem that we've created. And I would say, I mean, such as Athar Plus, there are so many different opportunities that the Abu Dhabi government is working on. All I would say is that women need to just find these opportunities and run with them.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, before we close, I would like to bring us all to a forward-looking perspective. I will address a question again to all of my panelists. As a closing question, what would meaningful progress look like over the next 5 years? But I will also leave the floor to any of you who wants to add something other than the questions. What would meaningful progress look like over the next 5 years? Let's start with you, Snow.
As I said, I don't know. I think next to 5 years, yes. But I think for us as an industry investor and also operator for industry, I want to see what happened tomorrow and what happened. I think every day there is a result. You know, we are very result driven, as I said. So I think, you know, if you are very well established every day, you do what you do and display, and you get what you get in 5 years. But if in the big environment, what will happen in 5 years, I think first you're gonna to understand what's happening in the world. So this is, you know, conflicts between this country, and especially conflicts between China and the US and all of this superpower, you know, and all this politic. But business is relative to politics, and we are business leadership, and we need to understand certain politics that for us to make a right decision. So for me, I think that in the next 5 years, you're going to be ahead of the game. Whether you are in industry or where you are in technology, you have to see the best of, you know, what you have now, but you also need to have an eye that to see as an investor. You have to see the future. So you can't wait until this is famous, then you go to invest them. No, you have like a DeepSeek in China. I think everybody knows when DeepSeek is very famous, or the foreign investor want to invest in DeepSeek. But where were you 2 years ago? So my thing is that if you want to ask me about 5 years, so at least you have to see what will happen in next 10 years. Then your action and all your decision will be look at 10 years ahead. Then next to 5 years, you will be ahead of everybody, and you will be one of the major player in any industry, and you will successful. You have to have a long vision, not short vision. This is what my answer.
Thank you, Snow. Your Excellency Hind, what do you think about this?
I think progress is individual, and everyone can interpret it in the way that suits them. It's very much possible to progress in not just 5 years, but in several days or months or a year or 10. So I think it's important for every woman, and focusing on women in this panel, to set defined objectives and ambitions for themselves, short-term and long-term, to make sure that they are written, that they are matching her values, that she checks regularly that she is on track, that she asks for guidance and support when required, to be able to meet those objectives, to not shy away, to be able to count on friends, family, and colleagues, and ensure that she continues to push and push, because it's not always easy, to make sure that she meets her objectives.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency Maysa, would you like to add something?
Definitely. I mean, I could say that in 5 years' time, success would look like clear pathways from idea to scale, more consistent access to funding, or real opportunities that would allow these women to grow. Definitely, that's more or less how success would look like down the line. However, progress, on the other hand, I think women need to be more resilient, or continue to be resilient, because we are. agile, because especially with business, there's the good days, there's the bad days, and things change. And we see, as we are today in the current situation, we've had to be very agile in changing our strategies and changing how we do things so that we're able to pass the wave. So I think, and maybe Her Excellency and Snow as well tapped on this a lot. Resilience. Continue to be resilient. Be agile in how you work with things. Don't get stuck in a rut and I set the strategy and that's all I'm going to do. Change happens and you need to move with the change. So I think if you do that, with all the opportunities that we have, we will get there. And in 5 years' time, I'm going to see a lot of successful businesses from women.
Thank you all for your insights. Thank you, Your Excellency. Before closing, I would like to give the opportunity to any of you who wants to add something in this matter or about our topic in general.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say one more thing. Abu Dhabi, maybe I can't say a lot about it, but Abu Dhabi is launching very soon a platform, a unified platform for social responsibility. What it is it's like a marketplace, demand and supply, where opportunities or projects could be uploaded on this platform, and then contributors or funders could see what they want to fund in terms of contributions as their CSR and take part in whatever project that they see that there's alignment to their objectives on. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity also for women with businesses or with projects that has a social component to it, or that really addresses a specific social challenge in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi to be part of this.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you all for your insights. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude, a few key takeaways stands out. Progress is visible, but scale requires stronger structural support. Leadership today is defined by impact, accountability, and influence. And most importantly, sustainable growth comes from aligned ecosystems, not isolated efforts. This conversation reinforces that enabling women in business is not just a social priority, it is an economic and strategic imperative. Thank you all for this. Thank you to our first incredible panelists for your insights, and thank you all for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed our session. Enjoy the rest of our